guys, thanks as usual for tuning in to my YouTube channel. Please remember to subscribe to the channel. Remember to hit that bell so that you get regular updates when I put up new videos. And please visit me on Wrench Rampage, and that's on Instagram as well. So today we're going to be finishing up the brackets and sort of treating some of the rust on the back end of the Evo 6. And hopefully we'll get all the way up to getting ready to install that plated RS diff. I need to change that diff out. I destroyed the other one that I put in at the track last year, and so I got to crack that open and see what's going on. So stay tuned for a bit more Evo stuff today, and again, thanks for tuning in. Where we're at with the rear suspension here is I've started removing some of the components, but I haven't completely stripped it down yet. Now, just heading over to the rear of the car here. So I have the coilovers removed. I pulled the brake rotor. The rear Brembos are just sitting up here kind of loose. Now, I know from taking this car apart previously that the lower ball joints are good, which is good because I don't really want to take these knuckles off. They're fairly difficult. Well, maybe not difficult, but they're time consuming to remove because there is a e-brake that runs into this assembly back here. This is the emergency brake, and it's put together much like the old drum brakes. So there's a lot of springs and little levers and bits that have to come apart to take this assembly apart, and I don't really enjoy taking it apart, so I'm gonna take a pass on that. The rear backing plates for the disc brakes are still healthy. They're not rusted out, so I don't have to worry about those. Now heading underneath here, I've got a subframe that I may want to drop. We'll see, but I probably could to clean it up. Again, spray bomb black. Let's get a bit of light on it here. So subframe spray bombed. The rust back here is all surface. It's not that bad. I've already had the filler neck out, which is right here. This is the guard for it, which is usually filled with dirt and rots those filler necks out. So the gas cap's right here. Filler neck runs underneath, under that guard, and then snakes back to the tank, which is in the front of the rear axle. Tank's right here. Okay, so my plan is to remove probably most of the rear suspension. I have a plated diff in here that I installed last season, which I think, I don't think I fried it. To be honest, what probably happened is last year to make a drag event, I kind of rushed installing that diff and I never did go through it. I didn't take it apart. I didn't check how bad the plates were. And it turned out that it was locking way too hard. So I don't know if there's some debris in there, or maybe the plates, sometimes they overheat and they stick together, so there's that possibility that it could be damaged. So I have another diff. Well, I have a few diffs sitting right over here. I've got 3 Evo 9 and Rally Art diffs sitting here, which a few of them I've already rebuilt anyway. So I'm gonna probably put one of those back in, and I'm gonna have to fabricate the front mounting points for that. So that'll happen. I'll weld those up. Okay, so here we are under the Evo. It's on my lift, and this is approximately 2 hours after the last video I filmed. That's basically how long it takes me to strip the rear end and all the bracketry out of a Evo 4 through 6.5. So let's take a look here. Okay, so we have the spare tire well here. This is the of the upper arms. Knuckles are still there. The diff is gone now, and there's the drive shaft just dangling there. So now we'll take a look at these items. Okay, so these are laid out to sort of give you an idea of what's underneath the cars here. Now, the only difference between this setup and the AYC setup would be different axles and different diff. So this would be an AYC diff. The bracketry is the same in this car. Even this diff support is not an RS diff support, it's a AYC support. I just adapted it to the diff. This is actually a Evo 4 diff. You can tell by the cast ears on it. So, well, an Evo 4 RS diff. So what we have here is mustache bars here, shaped like a mustache. The large support that supports most of the bracketry is made out of aluminum, so be a little bit careful with this. It can crack, obviously. Now, on that big subframe, you have the exhaust that attaches here. This attaches to basically the spare tire well, and you have the suspension arms coming out, and here's the sway bar that's going to be replaced. So the sway bar replacement is as simple as unbolting these, which will release the bushings here, and then you just take the sway bar out. Now, on some of my videos, I may have mentioned that these mustache bar bushings right here are particularly vulnerable to deterioration in the RSs and the GSRs. So these ones, as you can see, have already been replaced. I replaced these last year, and those particular bushings are almost always torn in some way. So if you do have some clunking or noises coming from your rear end, a lot of times if you're looking for a bushing that's shot, it's usually those ones. So this is where we're at right now. Next step is going to be disassembling this and doing some cleaning and replacing the sway bar here and getting ready to put it back in. All right, I've cleaned up the subframe and a couple of the arms, and now I'm going to be comparing the sway bar. So the rear sway bar that I got for this car from Cusco. Okay, so here we have the two arms. The Cusco arm is actually adjustable. It has 3 holes at the end, so you can move the end links a little bit. It also comes with bushings, which is nice. So let's just take a look at the size difference here. So So stock, we're looking at approximately 21 millimeters. And Cusco, we're jumping up to 23 millimeters. So that's a pretty substantial jump in stiffness. And so looking through the directions, they're all in Japanese, but I can usually get by with some of that stuff. So first, the warning again. This product is designed for use in Japan only. It must not be used in any other country. Well, once again, I'm gonna use it anyway. So they do have some decent instructions, but very interesting scale here. So this is showing us the ABC settings, so the holes for the end links on the end of the sway bar. So what we have here is that on the CP chassis, which is where I'm installing it, the A, which is the furthest out hole, is 108% of the stiffness over the stock. B's 122, C's 138, so C is quite a big jump. So what I'm going to probably do initially is just throw it in the middle hole, and then I can kind of go from there and do a little bit of suspension tuning. I was toying with the idea of going to the track this year with this car. There's a few circuits near my place here in Canada, and yeah, I was thinking about hitting an open track day and seeing what the performance is. And with this, I'll be able to tune in the oversteer based on my the tires that I run and the track conditions. So we'll see if that's useful. And yeah, I've done it before, so I know it works decently. So yeah, this is a nice bonus to the kit, is some adjustability. And another bonus is that Cusco actually includes some bushings with the larger hole, so I'm not going to struggle to get those brackets on. So that's a nice feature of the kit as well. I cleaned up the subframe here, just went back to the aluminum. That's actually how the Evo 6 comes, is just natural aluminum. And again, it was spray bombed. I don't know what it is with black spray bomb, but a lot of times it looks good, but people go crazy and do it all over all the suspension components. And I don't know. I think that for some stuff it looks good. For other stuff that's stock, it's supposed to look one way, and really it's not that hard to clean up aluminum. I mean, you can paint it, I guess, but once again, it wasn't prepped, so it cleaned up pretty well and pretty quickly. So all right, so I'm going to get to putting this new sway bar on the subframe and getting that squared away so that the bracketry for the rear diff can go back together. Okay guys, so I've been working away on the Evo here, getting all the rear bracketry all nice, and scrubbing it down, painting it, things like that. Okay, so here I have the front bar for the diff. This is the GSR version, so I'm gonna have to make some custom brackets for the Evo 9 differential to bolt up to this. This is not the RS piece. Now going to the main subframe. I cleaned off all of the black paint, put on the new sway bar, and I'm going to be using the Evo 4 to 9 RS diff bracket, so that's for the plated differential. I removed my Evo 4 diff that I was running, and I'm going to be putting in I'm going to be putting in a Evo 5 to 9 diff, which has the bolt holes on the side for those bolt-on wings or ears, however you want to describe them. And that's going to be going on next. But first, I got to put all the brackets back onto the car. While I was under the car, I epoxied some of the floor and just top coated it in black just to clean everything up. There wasn't any major rust, it's just surface rust that was a bit scaly, so I took care of that as well. So I'll put the car up on the lift here and I'll show you guys what the underside looks like. Okay, we're at the rear of the car here. So looking under the car, I just basically just cleaned up the chassis legs and just got rid of some of the corrosion that was here. So I used an epoxy, and then I just top coated with just a basic black paint. So, yeah, so that's all done. It's all cleaned up. There's the gas tank, and drive shaft is dangling right there. So next thing, I'm just gonna bolt up the subframe and get some of this bracketry put back, and then I am going to move on to adapting that Evo 8.9 diff to this setup. Okay, so all the bracketry went in fairly easy. So that's all done. So let's take a look. Okay, so all back in. Looking way cleaner than it was before. I have the front bracket in as well for the diff. So next thing is going through the diff, hanging the diff, and measuring out for some custom front mounts here. So we're at the point where I have to probably go through those diffs. That's the next step in getting the rear end of this car together. As soon as that's in, I can put the axles back in. I can put those Bilstein shocks back in, which have those lowering springs. And so on this video in particular, I'm kind of running out of time. I don't want to push this to like 40 minutes or an hour and have people not want to watch it because it's too long. So I'm going to probably push the diff tear down to the next episode. But let's take a quick look at the diffs and what needs to be done. All right, so here we have two diffs. This is the Evo 4 diff that I have pulled out from my Evo 6. I adopted the Evo 4 diff to my Evo 6. And yeah, I probably destroyed this, although when I had put it in, I never really went through it, which I make a point of doing, especially when I get used diffs. So probably a little bit my fault. Yeah, so I don't know what's going on inside there. I'm going to tear it down for you guys and just show you the inner workings of these diffs. And here is a Rally Art diff, which is the same case as the Evo 5 through 9. And so the cast iron case is the same. The plated LSD is the same, except the plates aren't stacked to the preferable JDM style combination. So I've already pulled this apart and restacked the plates, but it needs a different rear cover because, as you can see, the Rally Art rear cover is a lot different. So I'm going to go to this cover, which is the Evo 5 RS to 9. And of course the USDM 8s have that as well. And so I got to move the covers over. The snout may have to be re-drilled. Actually, I'm pretty sure it does. So the stock Rally Art bolt pattern on the end here, is not the same as the Evo 5 and 6. That's very simple. You just drill new holes. So I can show you guys how I do that. And yeah, we'll see what kind of anarchy happened inside this thing. It may not be too extreme. I don't think there's any broken parts, but the plates are probably destroyed. The lock was really weird and unpredictable and very hard. So yeah, we'll see what's in there. So we're going to save that diff teardown for next time. In the meantime, please subscribe to the channel. Please recommend the channel to one of your friends. I'm trying to get more subscribed members. Even though I'm getting a pretty good amount of views, I would like more subscribed members if possible. As well, check me out on Instagram at Wrench Rampage, and we'll see you next time. Have a good day.